Well, thank you very much, Moens. I have to say that's probably the best introduction that I've ever had, so thank you very much for that. Good morning, Denver, and good morning, SPAB. How are you doing today, okay? Yeah. Very good, excellent. No guts, no glory. If a 100-year-old company can go from being a traditional producer of products and transform their business into being a digital company, so can you. Now, you've probably realized that I'm from the UK, and something that happens every single year in the UK that everybody gets very passionate about, that's drinking champagne and eating strawberries. And that always happens at Wimbledon. So how many people here are actually kind of tennis fans? You've got tennis fans in the room? We've got quite a few. Okay, great, there's quite a few tennis fans. Now, you might or might not know this story around Babolat, the tennis manufacturer. Eric Babolat, the great-great-grandson of the founder of Babolat, had a vision of where he wanted to take his business. And it wasn't just a vision of where he wanted to go, it was where he saw the traditional industry going. So not only did he just write another page in his book, he actually threw the book away and rewrote the book for his company. He not only rewrote a new book for his company, but he rewrote the rules within the Traditional Tennis Association. He got them to write number 31 rule within the 30 rules that had always been there for decades. And that rule was that a tennis player can look at his mobile phone during each of his times he's been playing and analyze how well he's been playing his tennis. Now, Babolat produced tennis rackets from animal guts. The strings that are inside of the tennis rackets are from animal guts, not the more modern style of nylon. But what he did, he put tiny little sensors in every single part of the tennis racket, enabling the tennis player, when he's playing his forearm, when he's playing his backhand, to be able to see exactly where his sweet spot is for that tennis racket. Where is he hitting that tennis racket at that point that gives him the best topspin? Now, they didn't just do this overnight. It took quite a while for him to actually understand how he would be able to bring this tennis racket to market and win numerous innovation awards. To do that, there was a tipping point. There was a tipping point within the business, within the industry, and with the technology. So what I'm going to be sharing with you today is this three-step process of how you can get a better understanding of where your tipping point sits within the standards industry. We look at the people. Are you ready? Are your customers ready? Well, your Gen Z customers are ready. Is the business ready? The process that you're going through with your standards at the moment. And is the technology there for you to embrace this digital era? And as we heard earlier, we're not going through a disruption, we're in a disruption at the moment. So I'm going to be taking you through these 3 steps throughout today to help you get a better understanding of where your tipping point is within your business. Where do we start? We start right at the top. Now, we're not just looking at trust, we're looking at digital trust. Your Gen Z, or from the perspective of my children are at, Gen Alpha, they're used to playing around with this. They're used to using that technology. So can you honestly ask yourself at every single digital touch point of where your Gen Z customer connects with your brand, you give them a beautiful user experience that ultimately holds the hand of the authority, but your credibility within the industry actually leads your authority all the way through to that digital trust. Now, digital's played a big part in my life. I've been doing it for 12 years now. But around about 4 years ago, I picked up my mobile phone one morning and I decided to swipe right. Yes, I used a dating app. I found my wife on a dating app. Now, we got married And we both realized there was something that's missing in our lives. So we decided to use technology again to go through 3 rounds of fertility treatment to have our first beautiful baby girl. She had her 2nd birthday last week. And then after 18 years of being told I couldn't have children naturally, 10 weeks ago, little Blossom appeared. So this is Dixie, very happy with her little sister, but she came completely naturally. I was told for 18 years that I couldn't have children naturally. So don't listen to what people tell you. Now, to give a little something back from a natural perspective, I'm actually now a beekeeper. I've moved outside of London. I look after 50,000 bees. Here's me training somebody's daughter just around the road from us. So I now produce my own honey. Now, to give you a little bit more information about me, I'm the Chief Digital Officer of Think Digital First, and I've written a book called Think Digital First. I wrote this book in 2013. I rewrote the book in 2017 because things had changed quite a lot over the 3 years since I published that book. Now, as anybody here would like a copy of my book, and I sneaked in some honey from my bees. Would anybody like some of my honey in a book? Just let me know. Anybody? Yeah, we're talking digital here, guys. It's not that easy. So what I would like you to do, please, pick up your mobile phones, grab your phones. You can either do one of 2 things. Take a picture or make a comment inside of the app, or go over to Twitter, if you've got a Twitter handle, grab my Twitter handle, @WarrenKnight, and take a picture. Moens, does my bum look big in these? No? Okay, good. So please feel free to take a picture, put it in the app, earn yourself a couple of points, or go and share it on Twitter. I really don't mind. And what I'll do is I'll come and find you, and the person that does the best picture, I'm going to come and give you a copy of my book and some of my honey. Where do we start? The people process. You need to think of yourself as a digital leader, somebody that can embrace digital from a leadership perspective. But where does that start? We don't also have to look at it from an external perspective. What about internally? Because it's where that innovation sits within our business. What is the object of our transformation as a company? What is it that we truly want to achieve, understanding what that digital customer looks like? When we understand that process of being a true digital leader, then through that innovation, we want to go through that transformation process. You're going to be hearing today about some fantastic people that are very passionate around how digital can help you with your business. Now, to do that, you might need to think about yourself in a slightly different way. Have a digital mindset. And think about how can we embrace this new Generation Z that's coming through at the moment to really help connect our team to those individuals, to be that business creator that thinks that little bit differently. Once we've gone through these 3 steps, we then need to take all of that fantastic information and go and share that out through our community, through online, through apps, whatever that might be, by the use of digital marketing. So this is my 4-step process that you can go through to become a true digital leader within the standards industry. There are lots of questions that you will need to ask yourself as a leader. The who, the what, the where, the how, the when are all questions that you will need to ask yourself. But from a leadership perspective, we need to start with the how. How do we lead our business through this digital era in regards to what we want to achieve and be successful at doing that? Your future customers, Gen Z. My little girl's 2 years old and 10 weeks old. They're Gen Alpha. One of my daughter's favorite words is iPad. That was one of the very first words that she learned was the word iPad. She can pick up an iPad and swipe around it like my wife could never even think about trying to find things. And she's 2 years old. So we need to be embracing this technology. You're thinking about your Generation Z at the moment. And what are they doing in the boardrooms? How are they understanding how to capture that information around your standards at the moment? Are we using that technology? But more importantly, how are those robots using that technology? You've got a robot down at a plane at the moment. He's got a problem. What does he do? Talk to another robot. Find out exactly where the problem is. Where does it sit inside of that standard? Within a split second, robot replies, "Thank you very much." Robots are talking to robots. How can we embrace this technology to really advance within the standards industry? Now, to do that, your role as a true digital leader. There are three things that we need to focus on to actually truly understand what we need to do as a leader. Your role is to rethink your value proposition. You think about what I shared with you, Eric Babbitt. They are now a technology company that's won innovation awards and have won numerous tournaments around the world because of the technology that's been shared with the tennis players. When you think about the future, it wasn't where we were yesterday, but it is where we're going to be tomorrow. You need to remap your community. Now, I'm going to share with you a nice little business model a little bit later on. But when it comes to business models, the way that I look at this is your revenue streams. Are the partners that you have in place at the moment, or your future partners that are going to enable you to grow the way that you want to grow, but you need to remap that community. Bring in some new people to be able to help you. Work with companies that you know already are using neurolinguistic programming, that are actually using voice search around what's happening within your industry at this very moment in time. And then we need to remaster our service, the way that we deliver our service at the moment. I had some fantastic conversations with you guys over the last couple of days and give me some very nice insights into your industry at the moment in regards to where it's going, the troubles that you're having around your industry. And that's where we really need to remaster our product to stop the grey area of standards being shared in certain countries, where we can keep an eye on that license. Fire starters. Now, I love this because, as Moen said, I used to be a professional hip-hop dancer many, many years ago. And I used to actually dance for a brand called The Prodigy. I don't know if you know those guys, and one of his most famous songs is actually about being a fire starter. Are you the fire starter in your industry? Do you have a fire starter in your organization that can actually truly understand the use of technology, knows your standards industry, and can be that brand advocate and go and talk to other people within your industry? Who is that person, or who is that company within your industry? Because it will be disrupted. There is no doubt about that. So I want you to truly think about maybe the next hire that you've got coming in. The person that's in your company that has been talking to you about your industry, about your business, but maybe you've not been listening. Because that fire starter will be the person that understands technology, understands business, and will help you transform your business into being a digital business. They must be at the heart of everything that you do. We have no choice about this. Gen Z, Gen Alpha, robots. We must love our digital customer so that everything that you do, every step that you make within your business, from this point onwards over the next couple of days, understand truly what that digital customer looks like. Now, when I wrote my book in 2013 and I rewrote it again in 2017, I analyzed what those steps are that a digital customer takes from the point of knowing us as a business to getting to know, like, and trust us as a business, and then become a happy customer of our business. So I want to visualize that for you today. 9.2 touch points. It used to be 8 touch points. And over the space of 3 years, it's 9.2. I'd probably go to say it's actually probably over 10 touch points before somebody actually decides to buy your product. So I'm going to break it down for you. in 5 stages. It's what I like to call my customer acquisition journey. The journey that you and your business need to take your customers on to be able to build that digital trust, to have that authority and that credibility in regards to what your business does and how you can help your customers. So this is my customer acquisition journey. We need to start right at the very beginning of being relevant to our digital customer. Not relevant to the person that we've known for the last 20 years that already knows us as a business. We want to embrace this new digital era, having new revenue streams, new business models within our business. So we need to make sure that we're being relevant to that digital customer. Share the story, share the passion, share the reasons why we love this industry. And then we take them through the process of actually engaging with them. Yes, you've got to have conversations with them inside of Instagram. Whether you like it or not, that's where they hang out. They do their live streams, they do their stories, they put 30 hashtags on their posts. That's what they love to do because they love having fun. And the next part for me is the part where I see companies failing the most. Nurturing that database. You spend all that time building a brand new website, having time where you've got individuals that focus on one particular area, changing the position of the button, changing the color of the button, changing the category header. You might spend all of your time doing this, which is fantastic. You'll get more traffic over to your website. You've looked at your search engine optimization. But then if you don't get that customer from being, now I've got over 100,000 people that follow me on social media. That's great. But it means nothing to me in my pocket if I can't take them from that social space or get them to my website and then convert them into being a prospect of mine. In other words, gathering that name and email address of that person. And it's in this nurturing phase where I see companies failing the most. You've got those details and you don't continue sharing the value of your business to these individuals. You might pick up the phone, you might say, come and meet me at an event. Because once you've nurtured that database and you've truly built that digital trust with that person, it's at that point then they become a customer of yours. But not just buying something once from you, actually understanding the lifetime value of that customer. Because when you understand the lifetime value of that customer, it's at that point then they become a huge brand advocate of yours and talk about you through word of mouth. Whether that's from an offline perspective, as we've all been doing over the last couple of days, or from an online perspective, inside of the app that you're potentially using, or inside of Instagram, whatever that might be. Whatever the future of social media looks like, that's what this generation will do. And then once they do that, the whole loop starts over again. Now, to help break that down and go a little bit more granular for you, I'm going to talk to you about the decision process that the Gen Z customer goes through and how you can share content directly to that person as you build that trust from being a visitor to a prospect to a customer. So this is my decision process for you. And I've broken it down in the form of sharing content of value in that moment. Somebody that's never heard of your business, you're not going to take them straight through to a live demo because you haven't built that trust yet. There haven't been those touch points of building trust with that person. We have to start off with maybe sharing some reports around our industry that they can download from our website. Use LinkedIn as a paid advertising tool to focus directly to your potential Gen Z customer that gives them the opportunity to download that analysis report, enabling you to capture that name and email address. Then you need to maybe step outside of the office and into the environment of doing a podcast. Podcasting is something that Gen Z love to do. Why? Because they can listen to them on the move. They're used to being inside of iTunes. They're used to listening to what that person has to say about that specific product, industry, passion, whatever it might be. Have you thought about setting up a podcast and bringing great people in that have I've heard of people that have now left the industry and come back again. They have a wealth of knowledge that they could share. And then we go through to literally live demo, downloading, whatever that might be. So you've got 3 phases here that from a mindset perspective of somebody building digital trust with you are important to your business. Your vision. I share with you Eric Babolat's vision around where he wanted to take his century-old family-run business. What's your vision of where you want to take your company? And are you truly being a digital leader? Because the vision part is all about the standards industry and where it's going. I can't thank IHS enough, Moens, Simon, Mark, for sharing the last couple of months with me on numerous phone calls and live chats and webinars all about the industry. Because the passion that they have of putting on events like this for you guys and really understanding what they did right last year, but what they could even do better this year. That's the vision that they have for you to get a better understanding of how technology is going to transform your industry. And this is something that I was talking with Moens about being global. In other words, yes, you run a local business, but the companies that you work with, they're global businesses. So the mindset within your company, you need to be thinking local, but actually acting global. Because those companies that have offices in your region are actually global businesses with maybe tens of thousands, not hundreds of thousands of staff all around the world. And they're buying standards from you. So we need to think global to be able to embrace our global customers from a local perspective. Accessibility. So maybe years ago, like me, Generation X, I might have been out on the field. I might have had a problem. I might have had to call the office, find out what was going on. That phone call probably cost me about $2 and lasted 30 seconds. This is what I grew up with. I used to be a pizza delivery driver, and I used to walk around with one of these as a pizza delivery driver. But that's not today. We need to have accessibility across multiple platforms around what we've got going on. And yes, you've got access to your smartphone. Yes, you've got access to your tablets. But what are we really thinking about with our Generation Z? What's truly important to them? They have smartwatches. They're down the gym. They want to know in real time exactly what's happening. So in a while, I'm going to be talking about business models. I want you to think about this moment in regards to how can that person ask a question? And how can that watch, based on what I'm going to be talking about blockchain, with a subset of artificial intelligence sitting on top of that, be able to answer that question through a piece of technology like a smartwatch? Artificial intelligence. I've got a question for you. How many people here think that we're going to have a human autonomous person walking amongst us in our lifetime? Anybody here think we're going to have that? Okay, it's quite a few of you. Dr. Rodney Brooks, I've done quite a bit of research in this over the last 12 to 18 months, has categorically said that in 2030, we're only going to be at the point of a mouse. So a mouse is going to be completely autonomous. In other words, without being touched by a human being at all in regards to what it should or shouldn't do. 18 years later, by 2048, we're going to be at the size of a dog. So certainly not in my lifetime are we going to see a humanoid walking around amongst us that is not being controlled by a human being. And you can go and do your research on this, and I'll happily share it with you. Now, subsets of AI, when we're looking at neurolinguistic programming, machine learning, yes, you can see already. $1.2 trillion spent in 2018. That was 70% up from 2017. 70% up in 2017. So we do need to embrace artificial intelligence for our business, but we do need to do it by using the subsets of AI. Now, this is a piece of market research that was done by McKinsey, and it gives you a bit of an overview of how neurolinguistic programs being using at the moment. We've got vision, we've got virtual assistants, machine learning, advanced robotics. So a couple of core areas for you that I wanted to highlight around R&D. Visually, we can use this data to speed up a process. We've got customer service. 47% of companies that were put a research by McKinsey said that they're using actually this to be able to embrace with their customers. So I've got some case studies that I'm going to be sharing with you throughout today as well. There's been a bank specifically used a VA online to help reduce problems by 75%. In other words, 75% of inbound calls were reduced by simply using a chatbot on a website. Online conversion. If you have a website that currently sells your standards, an e-commerce business used a chatbot that increased sales by 6.3%. Now, that's not a huge amount of money, but it is to a multi-million pound online business. But more importantly, 70% of those sales came through the chatbot. 70% of sales came through the chatbot with a 6.3% increase in sales. Now, I did a little bit of research. I went and checked out a couple of your websites online just to see whether or not you had a human being talking to me. So I had a little chat with Becca, and I challenged her on the way that your standards are currently available. So what I want to do for you now is I want you guys to have a little bit of fun. So what I'd like you to do now is please pick out your mobile phones, grab a phone, because you're all going to play with some artificial intelligence in real time right now. So what I'd like you to do, please go to this URL, warren-knight.com/chatbot. Now, as you get into this little piece of machine learning, you're going to go to the place that's important to you. If you haven't downloaded the app already, you can click on the chatbot and go and download the app. If you'd like to find out a little bit more about me and my bees, no problem at all. Come and see my bees. If you'd like a copy of this presentation, you can click on it, go to SlideShare and download it. You want to come and connect with me inside LinkedIn, Twitter? No problem at all. The reason why I want you to play with this in real time is for you to be able to understand you can go to the place that's important to you. I give you the options, but human nature will take you to one place or another. Now, this piece of technology that you're playing with on my website at the moment costs me $0. It didn't cost me anything to set this up apart from a little bit of time. Now, if you've not got a great connection at the moment, just take the URL down and you'll be able to go and play with it later on. And like I say, do you want to copy the presentation? Do you want to click on to download the app? I've built it all inside of here for you. When you come to this page, I'm talking to you personally about the event that we're at today, not generically, personally to you. So imagine the way that you're playing with artificial intelligence at the moment, this machine learning process. Imagine what it can do from an online perspective. How much time is Becca spending talking to people through the chatbot? How much money are you wasting by employing people to do a job that a machine could do probably more effectively and efficiently? Good, you guys are playing. It's true. You've got a lot of content. A lot of content. I've looked at your timeline of how long it takes for you to actually either redo or write a new standard. That's a lot of content that you've got going on. And it was the whole reason why Google transformed the search industry was because of content. They made it very simple, very clean, one place to go, find out what you want, and on a continuous basis over the decades now that Google have been the #1 search engine, they're always looking at ways of how they can advance that. Natural language processing. There are 4 core areas that I want to share with you today about NLP. And this is the statistic that I got, that 43%, I think it is, 43% of consumers in North America actively are using NLP, and you might not even realize that you're using it. So when we look at one of those things, is voice search, Internet of Things, Alexa, Siri. I can turn on my alarm at home. I can turn on lights. It's what's happening now. It's not the future. It really is here. Smart documents. I stepped outside of your industry, and I'm going to share something with you in a moment. I stepped outside of your industry and found a company that's actually using NLP and using smart documents. Now you have IHS that are already doing this already within their company. Are you working with them as a partner? Because they are being the fire starters potentially within your industry. Then we look at virtual assistants. You've had some fun with that already today. Do you have a chatbot that sits on your website to be able to help people, guide them through a process? An insurance company reduced 91% of its inbound calls because they put a chatbot on their website. 91%. That's a huge saving as a company. And recommendation engines. We all watch Netflix, right? 35% of Netflix revenue comes because of a recommendation engine. There are 2 billion playlists on Spotify because of, you listen to one song, they recommend another song. They are using this technology to help people get to where they need to get to far quicker, far smarter. The technology is here. Now, I thought about blockchain. I had a couple of conversations with a few people over the last couple of days around blockchain and what it really means. I'm not going to go granular for you around blockchain because I know you've got a speaker around what's going on. But I thought, what's the best way for me to try and visualize this for you? Blockchain is built on blocks, and each one of these blocks has a hash code. And then one block builds another block, and ultimately you have a chain of blocks which all have a hash code, which all use the same hash code. And it's actually impossible to dig deep into one of those blocks and make changes to it. You might or might not know this already, but De Beers, the diamond company, are building a platform on blockchain to understand where, A, the ethics of where the diamond comes from, the quality of that specific diamond, and this information on the blockchain can be shared from the manufacturer through to De Beers, through to the shopkeeper, and potentially through to the person buying that diamond. And they're using blockchain technology to achieve this outcome of transparency. So I visualized it for you in the form of a Rubik's Cube. And somebody at some point might ask different questions around a particular standard. So one person might come in and ask a specific question around acid rain for this particular standard. They get the answer. Somebody else might be more interested in the humidity. Is there a case study for this? Might be another block part of that chain of information about this specific standard. And you in your industry can track who did it, where they did it, when they did it, and how long for. That data's all transparent. Is it salt contamination? Actually, what I'd really like to do is get some training. No problem at all. So as I said earlier, we need to layer what's happening in the standards industry. Think about blockchain. I'm not saying feet first in tomorrow. How can we build that base that gives us that data, that secure, safe, privacy data that could be transparent, and then build a layer of artificial intelligence or subsets of artificial intelligence over the top of that. And to do that, the technology is the what. We need to invest in it. What impact does it have in our business? And what is the reason that we want to use this technology for our company? Not the how, that's leadership. The what is the technology. The bottleneck. Where is this currently happening? Another report for you from McKinsey did research around companies based in the US. This is the result. Where are the issues around helping companies going through a digital transformation at the moment? And you might or might not believe this, but actually, it starts with the people and the skill set within those individuals. Then, it's actually the technology capabilities. Maybe we're thinking too far advanced in regards to what we want to achieve. And then it's the management. Can you truly ask yourself that the management team have been upskilled enough to understand the 3 tipping point process and actually how to embrace the technology? So I looked outside your industry and I found a company that talks to the lawyer industry on a software as a service basis that offers smart documents. So in this particular, I've got 3 different visuals here for you, and this is from their website, and I'll put it into the app, the exact company that I went to with this. But they're using NLP to be able to get people to where they need to get to very quickly. So as far as your standard documents and the hundreds of pages that are there, they're using smart documents and NLP to achieve this outcome. So they're asking the question, where do I need to go? What fact do I need? What are the problems and concerns? Then we're looking at asking questions, answering those questions, creating overviews. And then finally, the standard that they need to go through to be able to get that information from. So this is a company that focuses just in the law firm industry, that sits outside of your industry at the moment, but could be a great company to partner with to achieve your smart document outcome. Now, I know for a fact that IHS have already built this into what they're doing, and the vision that they have and the team that they've got that currently have this and progressing with it rather quickly. So should you really embrace a third-party company, or should you more likely be partner with a company like IHS to achieve an outcome for your customers? Having fun with the clicker today. Data. And this is I was quite amazed actually. Actually, only 29% of companies in America actually focus on big data as a way for them to be able to grow their business. There is a lot of data that's out there at the moment. And yes, there's pools of data, we can mine data, but where we need to really be sitting is all about the smart data. What's important to our digital customer, our Generation Z customer? What's important to them? And give it to them the way that they need it, or the way that they're used to getting their data. The 3 laws of robotics. Does anybody know about these 3 laws from back in 1942? Yep, there's a few people here. Okay, great. So I'm just going to highlight these 3 laws for you around robots at the moment. So the first law basically says, don't kill any humans, please. The second law is a robot must obey a human, but not go and kill another human. And the third law is that they must protect themselves, but not on the process that will conflict with the first or the second laws. Now, from my perspective, there is a 4th law that goes with robots. Has anybody here heard of Sophie, the androids? Anybody here heard of Sophie the android? Okay, so there's a few of you. So she's a robot that's been built by Hanson Electronics, and I had the pleasure of meeting her last year. And I was in Helsinki. I was opening up the AI conference for them over in Helsinki. And I got to meet her. And I asked her a couple of very simple questions. My first question was, are you looking for love? And she said no, she was too busy. My second question was, can you dance? She looked at me, she pondered for a moment, and said no. So I said to her, well, if robots can't dance like humans, can humans dance like robots? So we've already heard someone singing earlier. Well, that was pretty good going. I was impressed anyway. So what I would like to do now is, as I said earlier, I used to be a professional hip-hop dancer. I'd like to invite somebody up onto the stage. And I would like to show them in front of everybody here, so 120 people, I would like to show them how to do the moonwalk, stop, and then do some popping and locking just like a robot. Who would like to come up on stage here and learn how to do the moonwalk and then dance like a robot? This is my fourth law when it comes to robotics. Anybody here would like to do that?
Come on, raise your hand. Yeah.
Excellent. Give her a round of applause, please, everybody. I'm so pleased she hasn't got high heels on. So, now, when it comes to doing the moonwalk, I'm sure you've all watched Michael Jackson do it. The whole concept of doing a moonwalk is the fact that you look like you're moving forwards, but actually you're moving backwards. So, in the true form of using technology, I'm going to do a little hack around that process. So what I'm going to do for you today is show you a quick win of how we can do the moonwalk. Okay. Is that all right? So I need you to stand there. What we're going to do is we're going to face this way. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to move backwards in the moonwalk. Okay. Then when we finish the moonwalk, I'd like to turn to the audience and then do some popping and locking and dance like a robot. Would that be okay? Okay, sure. Is everybody okay with this? Yeah. Excellent. Okay. So what we're going to do is, can you get on your the ball of your right foot like that? Yeah. And then what we're going to do is we're going to drag our right foot back on the ball and lift our heel in the air. Now, when we bring our heel in the air, at the same time as doing that, we then drag our left foot from the ball of our foot and do the same action of bringing that heel up in the air. Okay. Does that make sense? So we go like left foot up in the air, right foot up in the air, left foot up in the air. You've got that? I think so. So, okay, great. So we're going to start off here on this line. We're going to moonwalk backwards to that line. I'm going to turn to everybody in the room, and we're going to do some popping and locking and doing a bit of a robot. Okay. Is that okay? Yeah. Now, okay. If you would like to see this, I need to hear some noise in the room. I want you to bring the roof down. If you would, sorry, what's your name?
Kathy.
Kathy. If you would all like to see Kathy do that, I need you to bring some noise. Would that be okay? So let's hear Kathy do that. Woo-hoo! Excellent. Okay. So, ball lift, ball lift. You ready? Okay. 1, 2, 3, let's go. Okay, turn, do a bit of popping and locking. Excellent, very good. Thank you very much. Thank you, Kathy. A little bit of fun to lighten up the show. Business models. Right, so what I'm going to do for you now is I want to take you right back to what we were talking about. I want to share with you the smartwatch. And I want you to now think about your company as a technology company. And I can assure you, I've been researching this for about the last 18 months. You need to be thinking about your company as a technology company if you still want to be here in the next 10 to 15, 20 years. So I've got a business model for you. Imagine you've built your business on blockchain technology. Each block has a hash code. That hash code is attached to each block. In other words, every single word, sentence, paragraph inside of a standard can be linked together with data privacy, data protection, and security built into that. So we've got this nice layer of blockchain technology. Then on top of that, we want that Gen Z customer to be able to do a voice search where they are in real time. They might not be walking around with their mobile phone. They might not have their iPad there. What they might have is a watch. So what I want you guys to do from a revenue stream perspective, I want you to think about your company being a subscription service, just like the Shopifys of the world, just like the Netflix of the world. I want you to think about your company as a subscription-based service, because you can now track every single conversation, piece of research that happens within one standard globally around the world on your blockchain foundation through understanding natural language processing. And I want you to think about a subscription-based service where you not only offer that subscription-based service, but you give away a smartwatch to every single person that wants to use your standards. A subscription-based service that gives the technology away to your customer for them to be able to use in real time to be able to find the answer to a question. Now, I'm not from the standards industry. I've just had numerous conversations with people. I've heard about how a very, very large percentage of license certificates within a certain country are not real. That took months of research for people. Then the fact that they didn't have a license, and then the process of taking them through to getting a license takes months. The technology will do it in seconds. But from my perspective, you need to be on a subscription-based service, because that is what Gen Z and definitely Gen Alpha are going to be used to be managing through their smartwatch, getting what they want in real time, and it being transparent. Because that's what you would need to do to be able to scale your business. And think about it in two different ways. One, efficiency. How can I save money? Don't get Becca to talk to somebody. Get a piece of technology to talk to somebody and save money. Don't waste man hours of time going to a country and doing research in all these different companies. Use technology to answer that problem. Because when you have that, and that new business model and that new revenue stream, you can scale your business. So I'm going to bring you back again what we started off with. The tipping point of success. Are you a true digital leader that's going to lead the people, understand who those fire starters are inside of your company, and truly put the customer at the heart of everything that you do? Because this is your role, to rethink, remap, and remaster. I've shared with you already, the technology is there. It's about you having that digital mindset and embracing it, and enabling you to have this new business model from a process perspective and getting those standards out into the marketplace. So my name's Warren Knight. I've been sharing with you today all about digital business. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the next couple of days on the event.